paintings all over the place, so I have to be organized. We're gonna have an incredible day today. It's gonna be amazing. You're going to be blown away by what you paint. You're gonna be amazed at what you learn. We have so much fun stuff coming up. So before we get into anything really detailed, I just want to show you this real quick.
Hi everybody, Alex here.
This. And we are going to do a little bit of housekeeping real quick while everybody is still showing up. So we have a very small team here at Alex Kincaid Art, but we like to answer all of our emails, approve all of the posts. Just be patient with us this week because some people are emailing, 4 or 5 times in a row asking why we haven't responded yet. We have hundreds of emails to answer, hundreds of posts to approve. So do us a favor, just email us once. We promise we'll get back to you as soon as possible. We just answer them in the order we get them. Your post will be approved, so you don't need to make another post asking about it. We will get to it. We have to approve things in order as they come in, or else Facebook gets mad at us. So we don't want that, right? We don't want Facebook to get mad at us. I want to also just mention that the kindness and the patience of our community is one of the defining factors of the Garden Studio, of the Alex Kincaid Art team, and of Watercolor Week. So thank you so much to everybody who was positive, who sent encouraging messages. I got a couple emails last night from people that just made me cry, to be honest, because they were so nice. So thank you, because it is so important that we are nice to each other, isn't it? So I want to just mention what we're going to do today. We're going to give everybody a chance to show up, and then we're going to start warming up a little bit. So I have a little treat for you. I'm going to show you some of my very first paintings. I have some mindset tips for you. Now, mindset tips never sound very exciting, but they are absolutely critically important to actually being an artist and painting. For those of you who are in my membership, the Garden Studio, just say, yes, they are important because we talk about them a lot. If you don't have the right mindset, even if you paint the best painting in the world, it's not going to be enjoyable. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to go through today's plan with you because, like me, many of you like to know what's coming. We have 3 giveaways today. I'm giving away Arches watercolor paper to 3 people that we're randomly picking today. As long as you're here live, you have a chance to win. Very fun bonus that we're going to talk about today as well. So before we start by telling you a little bit about myself, what I want to do is go over to our workspace and our paint area. So I have my workspace over here. I was just tidying up a little bit there, and we have our paints here from yesterday, and I left it like this so that we could really easily see that it's easy to clean up our watercolor paints, that we can reuse things with a simple warm-up, okay? So if you don't have your drawing done already, make sure that you get your drawing finished. Otherwise, just grab a scrap piece of paper. Okay, this has been painted on one side and not the other, so it's just a scrap piece of paper. I have my regular brushes. You can use anything for this. We're just doing a really simple warm-up. So I'm gonna grab my number 5 brush. Again, any brush will work for this. I'm gonna rinse it off here, come over to this paint that I had yesterday, and here's one of the best things about watercolor. With watercolor, we can always reactivate our paints. Isn't that incredible? Now, if you're an acrylic painter or an oil painter, you know that this is not possible, okay? You know that if you have acrylic paints or oil paints, once they're dry, you can't use them anymore. So we have our paints here and we can just reactivate them. You can even just mix them together like this, okay? Sometimes you have really happy accidents when that happens. Okay, just gonna mix it up. And I just want you, this is a warm up. This is just to get our hand warmed up, to remind ourselves from some of what we did yesterday. I want you to just grab some paint with your brush and just start making some smooth lines on your paper, okay? If you want a little extra challenge when you're making these lines, try and make it so that they don't touch each other, okay? And they don't have to be in order. They don't have to be anything special, just simple lines, okay? Just to get our paints active, to get our brush moving. If you have a brush that you didn't use yesterday, grab that. So I could grab this brush here and reactivate my green paint and just practice making some lines. There's no pressure. There is no right or wrong here. As long as you're putting paint on paper, you are doing the right thing, okay? So keep on warming up, just practice, use your paint, and I'm gonna talk us through some mindset tips that are so important for really understanding how we paint and how we do a great job painting, okay? All right, so let's go back to our slideshow here. I wanted to tell you yesterday, I wanted to tell you a little bit about me, but since everything in my life was breaking yesterday, I didn't have time to make this slideshow. This is me and my husband, Jared. We live in Fort Worth, Texas. This is our pup, Ranger. Gotta always tell you about Ranger because he's the best, okay? But now we have Charlie, so he's also the best. It's very hard to get a picture of Charlie where he is still and not just a blur. So whenever we're driving, he likes to pop his head right up between us and just watch what's coming. So there's our pictures of me and Jared, Ranger, and Charlie, okay? I have been painting for about 9 years. Now, I would like to tell you a little bit about my story later this week about why I started to paint because I think it will probably resonate with a lot of you. But it's been about 9 years and I loved it. I found painting in a time when I really needed to have some quiet, to have some peace in my mind, and it's been amazing. I started having friends ask if I would teach them how to paint in 2017. And I have never looked back. I started with in-person watercolor classes and then started to teach online. And I love to share watercolor with my students. I primarily do that in the Garden Studio, which is my painting membership, and a big welcome to the over 300 new members of the Garden Studio. I'm so glad that you're joining us. This is a picture of me with some of our members a couple months ago. We had our first official meetup and we had a tea party and it was so fun. So these are some members. If you see yourself in these pictures, go ahead and say hi in the chat because I know some of you are here today. I started as a total beginner. This is one of the first things I ever painted. Some of you have seen this before. There's always people who are like, wow, that's not bad. It's actually a good painting. And I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to make me feel good. It's not a great painting. I like to joke that it's a good thing I labeled the flower of what it is so that we know now that it's supposed to be an anemone because I don't know that we would be able to tell that without the label. So there's my anemone from really within probably the first 4 weeks of me starting to paint with watercolor. And I was so proud of it. And you know what? I'm still proud of it because you know what it represents? It represents me deciding to do something good for myself. It represents sitting down and painting, putting the time in, and remember that lesson from yesterday. It's not the end painting that's the most important part. The most important part is the process of doing it and the joy that it unlocks and just enjoying the creative process. Okay, here's another one of my very first paintings. And really, what I'd like to call your attention to is how I had the same problems that a lot of you started talking about yesterday. You can see that there's weird lines where the paint settled, that I'm not using great paper. I've smudged the paint across the paper. I tried to get some shadows in there. The flower kind of looks not three-dimensional. So a lot of those same problems I struggled with at the beginning too. But here's what I want you to take away. Everyone can paint beautiful flowers. Everyone. You do not need natural talent. You do not need a degree in art, okay? You need support, and you've got it here. You need a step-by-step path. Guess what? You've got that too. And you need the right mindset. Now, mindset never sounds like the most interesting thing we can talk about, but as you're still warming up your paints, getting your brush moving, remember to keep your hand anchored to the table, okay? Remember to keep yourself slow and steady. As you're warming up, we're gonna talk about the key parts of mindset that make the difference. First of all, how you talk to yourself matters. Now, I learned this when I used to teach in-person classes. I noticed that people would paint something and then they would say, my painting looks terrible, or I can't show you, it just looks too bad, or something like that, right? Has anybody ever felt that way before? I know that most of us have, okay? But when they were looking at the paintings of people across the table or next to them, they would say, I love the colors that you picked, or whoa, how did you make that shape? or, oh my goodness, that's beautiful, I wish I could do that, right? So the way that we talk to other people tends to always be positive and uplifting and encouraging. The way we talk to ourselves and about ourselves tends to be like, I don't have talent, I can't draw, I don't know what I'm doing, this color is ugly, I don't like my painting. Would you say that to somebody across the table from you, a stranger in a lesson? You wouldn't. So talk to yourself the way you would talk to other people, okay? The next mindset tip is that progress matters more than perfection. Ask yourself what lesson you learned, okay? Now, I have painted some truly ugly paintings in my life. I didn't set out to paint an ugly painting, okay? I sat down, I had an idea, I started painting, and it wasn't going well, right? We have all painted ugly paintings before. The key is to know that you just have to learn a lesson from it for it to be a success, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. When a painting is done, your journey with that painting is done too, right? I mean, maybe you'll display it, maybe you'll sell the painting, but really the part where you were creating it, it's over. So what can you learn from the process? Maybe, like me, you've learned, I don't want to paint this flower ever again, right? Maybe you've learned this was a really ugly color. I don't want to mix it again in the foreseeable future. Or, oh, I thought that this brush would be amazing, but actually I'm really struggling using this brush. As long as you learn something and bring that to your next painting, you are succeeding, okay? If you're feeling stressed today, take a deep breath. Anybody else feeling stressed? Anybody else nervous? Okay. If you're feeling stressed, take a deep breath. It is paint, it is paper, it is water. We have all started as beginners. I started as a beginner. Every person here started as a beginner. You're bringing beauty and light into a world that does not appreciate beauty and light most of the time. So there's gonna be a little bit of a struggle there, but you're doing something that's good for you, and it's good to bring beauty into the world, okay? So remember that. You're surrounded by support. This is one of my favorite parts about being in this community. If you were to say in the comments, like, I am struggling, you would have 300 people comment back to you. It's okay. We've all felt that way before. Just keep painting. Take a deep breath, okay? If you need to, put your brush down. These are live classes. I go through the material pretty quickly. If you start to feel a little panicked or a little nervous, just put your brush down, listen, watch, and learn, and you can paint with the replay later, okay? Those are our super important mindset tips. Now today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna paint peonies together, and they're gonna be beautiful. You're gonna see a time lapse of the entire process in just a minute. That time lapse is so that you can understand